These things are called conversation pieces. Well, the whole art of it actually is called conversation piece here in South Shields. And it's interesting, our conversation and how our own conversation, the conversations we have with others affect our mental health. You see, when we say things like, and we use words like toxic, we use words like negative, what those words incite certain feelings and emotions. After all, they're just words. It's just the meaning that we attach to those words. And in our conversation, we can describe toxic people, toxic environments. I hate negative people. I'm hanging around too many negative people. If we think about it, those are two words that really need to be eliminated from our vocabulary. Yes, they are used to describe certain situations, certain people, certain things. But what about the opposite? The opposite of toxic would be nourishing, I guess. The opposite of negative would be positive. But it's hard to get into a nourishing and positive life, isn't it? It's difficult because we're surrounded by toxic and negative people, and the more they are, the more they're there, the more they annoy us. And the more triggered we get, and the more frustrated, the more pissed off that there's not more nourishing and supportive and positive people. But what if, rather than branding and labeling things toxic or negative, what if we took a different approach? What if we started to actively look for things that were positive? What if we started to actually look for things that were nourishing? And not only that, not only just look for them, but apply and act things that were positive and that were nourishing. Because when we brand toxic and negative, we just want to avoid. Just avoid, that's it. What's the alternative? Just avoid. We never usually thinking proactively about what to actually do. It's just, that's a toxic person. They're a toxic environment. That's a negative person. You know, avoid negative people is the advice that you get. And while it's all well-meaning, it's difficult to do that because there are people everywhere. And if you're a person that hates people, you are giving yourself a first-class ticket to misery, my friend. There are just people. You can label them toxic, you can label them negative, you can label them bad. But there's an equal balance in this world. The universe has a way of, when things go wrong, things also go right somewhere else. And when things go right, somewhere there's something going wrong at the same time. For every yes, you have to say no to something else. For every negative, there's a positive on the other side of it. Someone or something benefits. So what we have to start understanding is that if we are feeling like there's a lot of negativity and toxicity in our lives, consider getting rid of those words. Consider not speaking them very much, because a lot of what we speak comes to fruition in our reality. So what if you just started to look for, seek out, and act more positively for yourself? What if you started to nourish your own life, nourish your own body by what you chose to drink and eat, how you chose to move your body, and what you chose to watch, listen to, read. Nourish your own mind so that when you do come across toxic people, because you will, it doesn't really bother you as much. They're just people, and you can just meet with a little bit more compassion and empathy for where they're at, because everyone's just doing their best. But the more that we brand and label toxic and negative, often we just get more of that back. And I know that's not what you want. You'd probably be liking to have conversations that were a little bit more nourishing and positive, and I get that. But you don't do that by actively avoiding toxic and negative people. Yes, we can choose to distance, but we get ourselves involved in more nourishing and positive conversations by what we choose to do, not what we choose to avoid. How would your life look like with more motivation, energy, and self-control? My second book, Supercharged, is available now, the modern-day guide to creating outstanding levels of energy, motivation, and self-control. Head to superchargedbook.com to get your copy right away.